Alright, and we are back. Thank you very much for tuning in, and if you're tuning in after the fact, that's cool too. We're working on our RabbitWerks Tasker app again tonight, and we're going to work on breaking out some components into their own child components. We're going to break out those SVGs into their own components, and then we're going to do everything that's involved in that as well. So we'll see how far we get, and again, thank you for tuning in to RabbitWerks JavaScript live coding session, working with Vue.js, and the music is brought to you unofficially by Freed Code Camp Radio. Check them out. The link is in the description. Support the cause, and let's get started. Okay, so this is where we left off the other night, and basically got our add additional details and the add step component finished so that we can push it to our task. And what I want to do, if we take a look at the code for that, is pretty much all of this markup right here is for that steps area right here, and it's getting a little big, this file. It's up to 325 lines, and so we should probably start breaking some stuff out. So one of those things, the main thing, is going to be this steps component into its own component file. And along with that, we will also do these SVGs as well. Okay, so first thing we got to do to get started is let's get a look at our folder structure. And in our components folder, we're going to add a new one, and it's going to be called the Add Task folder. And then before we start doing anything else, I want to put this add task component inside the add task folder, and we'll have to move that. And what we're going to have to do is just refactor, or not refactor, but reword a couple of destination points. Yeah, okay, so start at the top, and I'm just gonna work my way down and see what I need to do. Okay, so first of all, it's going to be this image, and we're going to have to go up one more folder. I believe it's, let me just type this in and see where we're at. Okay, yeah, so 2 levels up into assets, and then times solid. Cool. And right here in the event bus, we're gonna have to reach out of there. So we're in here, we have to go to the components and then to the source folder, which holds the main.js file. And we're getting our global event bus from that file. should be all we need to do for this file. Let's look at our other component. We'll go to the app.vue file. And right here, we're going to have to add the new directory add task. Cool. And it looks like we're back up and running. Let's see if it works. Alright, looks like everything's working. Okay, with that out of the way, now we can get this step component refactored out to its own component. So we don't need that open. We don't need this open either right now. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at all of this. So I'm gonna start by in the add task folder, we're gonna make a new file, and it's gonna be the it's called add step. Oops. Add steps.vue. Cool. And then with the view file, we need template tags and script tags and some style tags in case we need it. So cool. So next thing I want to do is grab this whole thing. So I'm just going to minimize it. That way I can just copy it like that, much easier. And we're going to put that in our template tag in our add steps.vue file. Let's copy and paste the whole thing in there. Okay. Bring that back. Oop, wrong one. There we go. Okay, and with that done, now we can start working on this and make it correct now. So, first thing we gotta do is now that we have our markup in there, before we go any further, let's see if we can get it connected and get some data sent to it. We're gonna send up some props to it, and so get our export default going, and then don't need data at this point in time, so we'll just have our props object. Oops. And that's gonna be an array, and we're just gonna have steps, just like that. And then now that we have our props in there, we can pass something to it. Okay, so that's that, and then so what we're gonna have to do in this add steps component as well is take out all these instances of new task, because we're not gonna have that in this component. It's just the steps that we're passing in. So we can just go ahead and delete all of those. Otherwise it's gonna throw errors. Alright. And right here. Alright, so next thing to do is we're going to go back to our add task component. And before we go any further, I'm going to comment this out for now. And we're going to just end up deleting it in the end. But for now, I want to have it in there just as sort of a reference point. Alright, now that that's all commented out, minimize it. And let's start looking at our app again. Alright, so we don't have the steps part in there anymore. We have the date and the contact info though. So, since this is in its own component now, we're going to have to import it. And we'll do that right under the event bus right here. So we'll import add steps from, and it's going to be the add steps .vue file. Now with that imported, we can go and add our components property to our Vue file, and components, an object, make sure we have the comma there. And we're just going to have one in here, so we'll do a set of single quotes and do app-add steps. App-add steps. And then that's going to be, not that, add steps. Cool. And then, next thing we're going to have to do here is we're gonna have to add our component. So we'll do app-add steps tab. Alright, now that that's in there, let's see. Cool, we have it in there. And the logic isn't gonna work. And because we have to get all of our methods from this component that we were using on it into the methods here in this component. So let's add that for now. But first we want to make sure we're passing data to this from our parent component, and that is going to be this steps property, which is an array of objects that we push to it right here. So this is when the array is empty for the first step, and this is checking if the current step's value is empty, and then this is pushing a new step, empty step, to the steps list that we're going to add to our tasks. If the current one has a value in it, so a new one, it's going to push a new one. If it's empty string inside the input, it won't push a new one. Okay, so what do we got to do? So first let's get this data sent properly. So at our add steps component, we're going to have to pass in our props, and then we're gonna do colon for the vbind shorthand, and we're gonna say steps, and that's gonna be equal to new task dot steps. And if we were to just pass new task in there, we'd get all of our information, but we don't want that. We just want the steps, so that's what we're going to pass in. So now, if we look at our app, and we pull up the Vue and DevTools, look at our components, add app task, and then we look at this guy, and we do see our steps property right there. And right now it doesn't have anything in there, so we won't see anything. But when we start pushing stuff to it and adding steps, it'll populate. And now that I'm looking at this a little closer, we could probably do the steps inside of this component itself instead of doing the props. And then we could push that data to the parent. So let me just look at this a little closer and we'll see what happens. Okay, so let me add a data property, a data object, and it's going to be a function that returns, oops, not returns, returns an object. And in here we're going to do steps, and we'll just do an empty array. Yeah, I think this is going to be we're going to go about it this way. We're not going to have to pass steps in as props because we don't have any data in our steps, and it's going to be populated from this component anyways, so we'll just have to push and send the data from our steps component or property to the add task component. Alright, well, let's take a look and see. Let's go a little bit further now. So let's get our methods in here. We'll start by taking this add step to steps method, and I'm just gonna cut it completely out of there, and then we'll just put it in the methods right here. And so we won't need the new task in this part either. So I'll just take those out right away. Oops. And then this create alert method, we might have to do some adjusting to. So I'm just going to comment that out for the time being just to turn it off. And so let's just see what the console is saying to us and see what happens here. Oh, Alright, so we got a step in there. We have giant SVGs too. We got another step. Alright, we have 2 steps. And can we add a third? Nope. So it looks like our logic is still working. Excellent. Cool. So let's look at our styles really quick. So we have steps, action button, outer, SVG, import, and SVG path, and then optional SVG path. So let's look at our add task component and look at these steps. So we can take these ones and should be able to take all of them like that. I'm just gonna double check and make sure we might leave the steps group action button in this. We'll have to see. Okay, so let's take these guys. So this is just for the SVG stuff. And we'll cut those out, and then we can bring these into here. Into our styles. Okay, so that brought them down in size. Now, what do we need to do? Get this one too. And we'll bring that down, put it right underneath these ones. Alright. Now, okay, and let's just take a look at I think okay, so we need these ones as well, because this is the whole step thing. Okay. And we'll put those in right on top. What does that give us? Alright, cool. We are back to where we started. We don't have that. We don't have that. But we do have our logic. We don't have our alert. We don't have the delete. Your task should have a title. We do have that alert because that's from the add task. Okay. Alright, now with that done, I'm gonna go up here and just take this out, because that doesn't need to be there anymore. And we don't need to pass that in. We're gonna be using an event. So let's take a look at our Vue component for the add task steps. Oops, okay. What we need to do is come up here. Let's see. Okay, so the props were conflicting with it. So with that out of there, if we take a look at this. Alright. So we got everything in there. Is important step, is optional step in the value. It changes, add a task, put another one in there, or step. And everything is in there. Alright, cool. So that's good to go. So with that, let's get the next method moved over. That's gonna be the set as important step. And again, we're gonna just cut that out, put it in the add steps method. Methods. Right there. Cool. And then what I'm gonna do is just replace that with I, because current step is super verbose just to say index. And with that, I'll have to step I, look at that itself. Okay, so we're just passing it as the index, or I anyways, because that's what I stands for in this for loop. Cool. That's what the second argument of the for loop right here is stands for the index. You can name it anything. You can say place, index, number, step if you wanted, but I is shorthand for index and it's commonplace. Okay, so with that method in there now, let's see. We can take out this new task because we don't have that anymore in this component. This dot new steps. This dot steps. And what does that give us? Let's give it a run through. And we don't have the colors changing. Let's see. Oh, okay. We do have it working. Interesting. Just have to refresh sometimes. Okay, so let's just double check. Okay, and then I don't know if it's gonna reflect in here because it's been wonky lately, but let's just see. Okay, so it does reflect in there. Cool, so it's fully working. Next thing we're gonna want to do is move this set as optional step over. And we can just probably move the delete step over too. And cut that out. Add steps component. We're in our methods, so right underneath the add as important step, I'm going to put it, both of them. And again, remove the new task syntax. Since we don't have that, we're just working with the steps in this component. Okay, now let's take a look and see if that worked. Okay, so the optional is working. And if we look at, oh, it's because this create alert is calling and or throwing an error. So if we take that off and we look at it, we can delete it. And then the optional works, the important, and the delete. Alright, all three of our action buttons are back to working, and they're back to properly updating. Their properties in the Vue object, Vue instance. Cool. Okay, so next thing to do is let's get this error running. Okay, so how are we gonna do that? Well, if we import the add task, can we use its method? So we need to use this method from this and from this. Let's find out. Alright, so Let's look it up. Okay, so looks like we're just gonna do a custom event. So let's comment this out. Alright, so first let's emit custom event, and then to do that we'll do this dot $emit, and then first argument is going to be the name that we need to emit, and it's going to be create new alert. And then what we need to do in there is pass in our data. So it's going to be an object, and we're going to have an object. Okay, let's look at our create alert. So is success okay, so this function creates an alert. Basically, it says the alert is visible. It says if it's a success or not, and it sets the color of it. And then it displays the message. It sets the message, alert message, as the message passed in. So what we want to do is we're going to have to pass in a true or false and then a message. So we'll have to have that in here. So we'll do is success to, this one has to be false, and then the message is please fill out the current step. Okay, so with that in there, let's look at our Alright, stand by, having technical issues at the moment. 1 minute, sorry. Alright, we're back. Thank you for your patience. You're watching RabbitWerks JavaScript, and we're back at it. Okay, so we're emitting this custom event, and it's passing in this data through an object. So what we're gonna have to do is listen for this event, and what we can do is, let's see, we can use a created lifecycle method, lifecycle hook, or we can use the mounted lifecycle hook, I believe, but I think we're gonna do a created one. Okay, so let's see, the methods, and then I think it's just its own, it's not in the methods property or the methods object. I think it's just its own, if I remember correctly. So let's try that, and if it doesn't work, we'll throw it in the methods. So this all the way down. Let's just see if it works. Alright, so yep, that'll work. And so what we want to do is not console log created. What we want to do is do this. We're gonna have to listen for a custom event, and we'll do this $on, and that'll set up this component to start listening for events on this created lifecycle hook. So basically, as soon as the component is created, it'll start listening for this event specified. So the event we're going to listen for is the create new alert, and create new alert, and then we're going to get our, let's just call it, so this is going to be, the second argument is the data we're getting that's passed with the alert. And so in here we're passing in an object, so we're going to store that object in the second variable, in the second argument of this .on, and we're going to call it, we'll just call it alert details. Cool, and then we'll do an arrow function, a body, and let's just start by console.logging the alert details. Okay. So let's trigger this and see if it's working. Let's see. Let me refresh this really quick. Empty string. I don't know if it's sending it. Let's take a look and see what the docs say. And let's take a look at the custom events page, and this dot emit my event on my event do something. So what we could do is put it on, listen for it on this component. Oh, not in this, but right here. And let's just take a look and see a little bit further. Okay, so let's see here. Let me take a look at one other thing. Let's see. Nope. this, none of that.
Come with me.
Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Not what I'm looking for. Alright, well, I'm gonna refer to my other custom event just to see. Oh, no, task list. Just to see a reference point. Okay, so, yeah. Event bus on, okay. So we emit it on the event bus. Okay, so that's what I'm missing. It's not this, it's an event bus, of course. So let's first import it. And we have to import named exports with the curly brackets. Then we can say event bus from dot slash main.js. All right. Cool. Now let's look in our add task, and we need to do not this, but event bus, and this is already imported. And one more thing, right here we need to not this dot emit, but event bus. Ooh, I like this song. Very, very dope. City Girl, Mist Beneath Your Apartment. Alright, let's look at this now. Is that all we needed to do to switch this around? Alright, cool. We got our event firing off. Now, what we can do is down here, instead of console logging, we'll have to say this dot create alert, and it's gonna have alert details dot is success and alert details dot message, this one. Let's just say spell it out. Okay, so the first argument for the create alert is the true false, which is this thing. And then the second argument is the alert message, which is this thing. And let's see what that gives us. Boom. Cool. Now we have that working. We're passing our message from our child component to the alert method on the parent component, and it triggers right there. Cool. Alright, so let's get that set for the deleted step. So we're not going to need that. What we will need is to emit another event. So we'll do event bus dot $emit, and we're going to call this one step deleted, and the second argument is going to be our object with the is success boolean of true. Because it's a successful error, or not an error, but it's a successful alert because we successfully deleted it. And then the second argument message is going to be we'll have to put these backticks in there, and we'll say step template literal, and we'll do I plus 1. Since it's an array, starts at 0, we have to increment I for the display by 1. Has been deleted. Alright. Whoops. So when we click the delete step square or the X, it's going to emit a custom event called step deleted, and we're going to pass with that the is success, which is true because it is a successful deletion. And then the message we're going to pass is the step, and then the number that we're the step number that we're deleting, and then the rest of the message has been deleted. And then we're going to splice it out of the steps array. Alright, cool. So now that that's taken care of, and let's go to our add task component, and the next thing we can do here, oops, right here, we're going to set another event listener. So we'll again call the event bus dot on step deleted, and then again oh wait, no, we don't even need to do that. Let's see. Let's go to this, and then we can just do create new alert, and then we pass in that. So we should be able to use the same event name, just different information that we pass in with the data. Okay, as data. Let's take a look. Alright, cool. It worked. Very, very cool. Alright, next thing is, let's take a look at this. What do we have to do next? let's take a look and see if this whole thing works now. So alright, and then one more of both stuffs. And let's add that and see what it did. Oop, okay, so it didn't add our steps yet. And let's see, so let's take a look at, okay. Right, so the next thing we gotta work on is getting that to work. So, new task. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to be able to pass this stuff what did it? It didn't clear. Okay, that's right. Okay, so that's that. And so we need to reach into the add steps. Component, and we need to grab from the steps array. So how do we do that? Okay, so it looks like we're gonna have to do another emit and what would be the best way to do this? Add step to steps. I think what we're gonna have to do is in this area emit a custom event with that information on it. So let's just try and do it after all of this. Let's see what happens. New step, and then we'll pass in our steps array, this dot steps. Okay. Let's call it updated steps. It's not necessarily new all the time. And then okay, so let's see. If we pull it, alright, cool. So let's take this, let's see, event bus dot on. I don't know, what we're gonna have to do is in the created lifecycle. Actually, let's try the mounted just for the heck of it. Mounted. We'll start listening for event bus. Okay, event bus on. It's gonna be updated step with an S. And then what we'll have to do is take the steps and we'll do this dot steps dot push, or not push. I think we have to do the spread operator in this, otherwise it'll just push our array into this array's first index, and we don't need to do that. We need to push the contents of this array into this array. So let's see how that works in just a second here. Okay, sorry about that. Alright, so what we want to do is see if this works now. And let's just go ahead and whoa, look at all the errors. Okay. Event handler update steps cannot read property push of undefined. Let's just see what that does. Nope. Okay, so let's see. Delete that. Cannot read property push of undefined. Okay, so what we need to do . I don't know what the proper way to do this is. I feel like this is not the right way to do it. Put that in there. No, not in this one, but in this right here. Let's see what that does for us. Alright, so I don't think this is the right way to do this. So what we need to do let's cancel that out for a minute. And okay, let's see if we can grab this. So let's try this. This dot steps dot push, and then we'll do let's see if that works. Oh man, this track is sweet. Okay, let's see. Blah 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 blah. Add task. It cannot read property. Push of undefined. Where are we at here? Push of undefined. Start steps that push add steps. Okay, let's try this. We're just kind of hacking this together at this point, but that's alright. And let's see. Let's add this and see what it gives us. We need a title, add that. It's not giving us. Let's see if that gives us anything. undefined. Let's see. Alright, well at least we don't have an error break anymore, so let's take a look at where we're at. So this is at this console.log steps. Let's try putting it in this created lifecycle. I'm not really sure, I'll probably have to come back to this at a later point this week. But I just want to try a couple more things while we're at it. Okay, that's cool. And that's in we'll have to put this event emitter down here too, right after we splice it. Alright, let's see if that worked. Okay, so let's just see if this is even getting pushed in there. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Let's see, try that. Task. Okay, so they're not in there yet, so let's see. No, they're not in there yet because we're just console logging. Okay. But let's see. That adds it, and that deletes it. Alright, cool. Cool. That's working, so what we need to do is now do our this dot this dot steps dot push, and then we should be able to spread into the steps that we're passing. Alright, let's see if that works. Nope. Let's see. Let's try taking that out just to see what that does. Okay. Let's see, let's try. Oh. We should try pushing it into the So let's look at this. So it's not just this dot steps in this case. It so it's new task dot steps, and let's take a look at that and see. Dot steps dot push. Let's see what that does. Okay, so it's not there. Let's look at this. Okay, add task we need to look at, not the task list. Let's give me 1 second here. Alright, we are getting closer. I can feel it. Okay, let's take a look at this. Oh, new task. This dot new task dot steps dot push steps. Let's just be a little more specific. New steps. So this thing error is from okay, so look at it, app task details. So task details, it is this thing right here. There. And that error is finally gone. Okay. No, I still don't think that's gonna be right. What do we need to do? We need to use an event, but we need to figure out where. Am I able to put this on this thing up here? Let's just try that. Oop. So what we want to do is do new task that steps equals $event, maybe, because the $event refers to the data that we're passing through automatically. And okay, let's see, refresh it, no errors. Let's take a look and see what we have. Blah blah blah, another blah. Nope, that didn't do it either. Oh wait, let's see. No, it's still not going to work. Okay, let's take this out. That's that, and then we can take this out. Oh, it's gone. And delete this. Start new task, that steps, that push new steps. Okay, we have something in there now. Avoid using task details. Let's see. Alright, it's there. Alright, cool, we did it. Cool, let's check this out. And we need to make sure that clears, but if we have an empty step, what is that gonna do? Puts an empty step there, so we need to make sure that that's not valid or that doesn't get pushed, but it does look like it is updating it. Let's see if these things travel with it. And push that. That just changed too. I'm confused. Let's see. Refresh. Test. First. Important. Second. Optional. And third. Important and optional. Oh, okay. Timeout. Let's figure this out really quick. So this. Alright, so let's see. If we take a look at the Vue dev tools, task. Alright, let's take a look at those one more time. I just want to see. I don't know. We have a bit of logic refactoring to do. Looks like. What if we put it out there? Cool. Let's see. Blah 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 blah. Another blah blah blah. Add task. Or Alright, it's there. Freaking awesome. Oh. We don't want that. Oh, because, let's see. We need to clear this out each time. We add the task. So well, what we could do is write another method that just takes the current value of the steps and sends it, and resets it after. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that because it's not working trying to do it all in one. Okay, so in order to do that, we'll have to probably use another event, but let's get a method in place really quick. We're running out of time for this session, but we'll see how much we can get done in the next handful of minutes. Alright, let's call this method submit steps. Or no, let's just do add steps. I don't know, submit steps. We're using add too much. And then comma, and then what we're gonna want to do here is put this. Put that there. Okay. And then created, we'll have to set up something there. And the something is going to be or wait, we could actually put it on. Well, we're going to do it down here for now. So we have the created lifecycle hook. Let's go in here and here. Add new task. Alright, so we'll have to do, let's just try this. So event bus.$emit, and we'll call it, not dollars, hashtag or pound ID Hacktober. Event bus.emit, and we'll do retrieve steps. let's just do grab steps, and then I don't know, did we just pass that? Do we have to pass in an argument? So if we do event bus dot on grab steps, and we just called I don't know if we can do this, but callback function string array callback function. So let's just do submit steps. And let's see if this gets triggered. Alright. Okay. So to recap, on our add task, when we click the add new task button, we're going to emit an event called grab steps, and we're going to listen for that event on the add steps component, and we're listening for the grab steps. And when that event gets fired, we're going to call the submit steps method. And we should see this console.log if it all goes according to plan. We'll have to see. Let's take a look. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. And refresh. What do our errors say? Submit steps is not. Oh. This dot submit steps. Okay. Clear those out. No errors. Let's give it a shot. Test submit. Okay. Cool, I think that actually did it. So let's do this a run through with some valid info. So test the last. And today is the 24th, and RabbitWerks. And add a step, and it's going to be first, important, add step, second, optional, and third is going to be third, and we'll do both. Add that. Alright, cool. And let's just throw another one in there really quick. And let's say we have a couple Okay, so it looks like when we delete them, it's not updating. But that's alright. Wait a second. We got a bunch of duplicates in here. Okay, let's just go like this. Alright, let's see what that gives us. View. I think this is screwing with it. Excuse me, sorry about that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna delete these two. Oh. So we should just have those in there. Let me push that. Yeah, so we have all of them. Still. That one seemed to update. Interesting. Alright, well, it might have been from a refresh, but I think everything is working for the most part. So I got rid of that unnecessary event bus emit right here. And we're sitting pretty good. There's a couple things I want to do more to this, add some validation and whatnot, but I think for the most part we got what we wanted to do done, and that's awesome. Okay, so I'll push my code up to GitHub. You can check out the repo if you want. And once again, thank you for tuning in to a session of live coding with RabbitWerks JavaScript. We've been working on a tasker, my RabbitWerks tasker app with Vue.js. Music has been provided by unofficially the Free Code Camp Radio. Link is in the description, as well as the repo link. And I think that's gonna do it for the night. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more live streams and JavaScript content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RabbitWerks JavaScript, RabbitWerks.js. Cool. That'll do it for this evening. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your night, rest of your day, wherever you may be, and stay awesome.